Isley. I am a 5th grader in Mrs. Sis' 4th-5th combo class. I'm here to inform you on disability awareness. I have a little sister, Cammie, who has disabilities. Doctors have not yet diagnosed her, which means put a name to what has made her body the way it is today. For anyone who knows her, they know that Cammie is always happy. She loves to dance, watch movies, and have someone read to her. Even though Cammie is still like us, she has hazards in life. Some people in this world think that Cammie does not belong, therefore calling her bad names. But there is one word that has become common at our school, R word. Most of you might think it is part of everyday vocabulary. The word retarded actually calls my sister a very bad person. Being her big sister, it is sometimes tough, especially when it comes to this word, but I try my best to stand up to the R word. Almost every disability child or adult is sentenced to a lifetime of this fear. Today is Cammie's 8th birthday, and she has worked very hard to get here. Because Cammie is not diagnosed, some insurance people would not help us with Cammie's special case. When we were trying to place her in school, wood chips were a problem. If the wood chips were not removed, Cammie would not be able to participate in the playground equipment. My hardworking mother fought to have this fixed. After 2 months of tough and boring meetings and trials, they finally agreed to remove the wood chips. As this was going on, I would lie in my bed and think to myself, why would they just fix the playground? Why is there such a fuss? That is when I realized that some people don't think so much about what special needs kids need. One other trial Cammie's face is seizures. A seizure is uncontrollable shaking and being unconscious to what is around you. Her most severe one was in 2010. I was the one to call 911 and give the information needed. It was scary, and I remember every detail of fear and emotion. Ambulances were coming from every direction, and being 8, I don't remember ever being able to process it. Instead, I played the blame game with myself. I always thought of it as just her body playing tricks on her, but that it was her fault that she was this way. Now that I am older, I understand that it was nobody's fault, and that Cammie is that way because that is who she is. When Cammie was being carried out by a gurney, a bed that people use for hospitals and ambulances, I was given permission to ride with her the whole way. It made me feel much better to watch her. I am very grateful to have Cammie in my life. She has changed the way I think, act, and feel. Please help Cammie and me in removing the R word, and please always remember what the R word means. And if you ever hear someone else say it, please explain what it means and truly spread the word to end the word.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I get the special honor to introduce to you someone very special to me, and Laura talked about her a little. This is my daughter, Cammie. She's my middle daughter, and she, like Elora said, she turns 8 years old today. So she's almost a cool upperclassman like you guys are. Like Elora said, Cammie has disabilities, and what those disabilities are, we don't know fully yet. She doesn't have a name for what's causing her body to work the way it does. But Cammie's body doesn't work like yours, and it doesn't work like mine. She grows at a really slow rate, so Cammie's really little. She's a lot smaller than you and I are. And her muscles are weak. They aren't strong like you guys. She can't run. She can't talk very much. She has a few words. But for the most part, Cammie is pretty weak. But the words Cammie can say are really special. And Cammie's smile is amazing. And if you bounce a ball with her, she'll bounce back and she'll laugh and she'll laugh. But because of the things that make Cammie different, because of her low muscle tone, sometimes Cammie drools. And sometimes she waves her arms, and sometimes she makes noises that don't sound like words to you or me. And because of those differences, sometimes people stare at her when we're out in public. And sometimes people say really mean things, like the word retarded. You have to work a little bit harder to be Cammie's friend. You can't just walk up to her and have a conversation. It's a little bit harder to get to know her. But when you take the time, when you put in that work, when you're kind to her, the joy and the wonderful friendship that you receive in return is kind of incredible. I want to let each of you know that when I was young and when I was in elementary school, I was a little bit scared of people that had disabilities. It made me uncomfortable. I didn't understand why they couldn't walk or talk like I could, and it made me nervous. And as I got older and Cammie came into my life, I felt a little silly for being so scared. Now I understand that when she makes noises and when people with disabilities make noises, it's their way of trying to talk to us. And when Cammie moves her arms and flaps and rocks, it's her way of trying to express happiness and joy. And it doesn't scare me anymore. And it doesn't scare me because I learned that the outside body may not work like ours, but the inside does. The inside feels happiness and joy and friendship and wants to be included and loved just like each of us do. We've heard today that we're on a campaign to spread the word to end the word, but we need to talk a little bit about what that word is. And the word that we're trying to remove is the R word. It's the word retard or retarded. We may hear that word a lot on the playground in our everyday lives, maybe even in our homes, but it's actually a word that should only be used by a doctor. It's a doctor word. It's a clinical word. And that word refers to people that have intellectual disabilities, which is a really long way for saying their brain doesn't work like ours do. They learn a little slower. They don't process language in the same way. So how do we hear that word used? Do we hear that word used a lot by doctors? No. We hear that word used a lot to describe something that is gross or dumb or not cool, right? We hear that word described a lot in a negative way. So what's the big deal? Why does it hurt so much when you say the R word? Why is it important enough to have a whole assembly about removing it? It matters because people like Cammie, who are perfect and beautiful and lovely and just want to be your friend, when they're connected to a word that means something bad or gross or dumb, it hurts. When I look at Cammie, and I get the privilege of looking at her all the time, she's the farthest thing from dumb or gross or bad. So when those two things are connected, it makes people like me, people like Elora, people that know Cammie, it makes us sad because that connection, it isn't okay. It isn't right. So I want to ask you guys real quick, what can we do? We can end the word to spread the word. That's important. But what else can we do? Can you each say the word hi? Hi. Overachievers, Mrs. Yang. Awesome. If you can say the word hi, you can be a friend. You can be Cammie's friend. If you say hi to Cammie, if you see her on campus and you say hi to her, oh, you will be her new best friend. She will love you. So you can say hi. You can be a friend to somebody. That's all it takes. Can each of you smile? Yes. You have such lovely smiles. Yes. If you can smile, then you can make a person with a disability feel special and feel important. I know that each of you can sign your names because you're that old and cool. So if you can sign the pledge, you can make a difference. It's my encouragement to each of you to not only sign the pledge to spread the word to end the word, but to go home and encourage your moms and your dads and your brothers and your sisters and your aunts and your uncles to sign the pledge too. Because you can smile and make a friend, you can say hi and make a difference, and you can sign that pledge and make the world better for kids like Cammie and for families like us. So I encourage you next time you're out and you see someone with a disability, you don't have to feel uncomfortable, you don't have to be scared, and you don't have to stare. All you have to do is smile and say hi. And that can make a huge difference in the life of any friend.
Thank you, Mrs. Petersley.